But as always, we're trying to find better ways to get in front of prospects. There's a lot of different methodologies, and we try to look at whatever works without any type of discrimination. But one of the areas that we look at, and there's oftentimes a choice that's made within sales reps, we can either go big or we can go small. What I mean by that is sometimes we can work on prospecting campaigns that reach lots of people and have a small response rate, but we get enough responses because of the number of outbound emails or outbound phone calls or whatever it may be. In this case, we're looking at more of a going small method, but the goal here is that by doing so, we're going to get a much higher response rate, a much better quality prospect, and a much better relationship. So we kind of explain what we're talking about here. The primary goal behind any email campaign that we're doing is not to get the sale, but to have a conversation. If we start out with the mindset that we need to sell something or that we need to engage the sales conversation right away, that's when we're going to start seeing a low response rate. We need to focus on getting conversations. Our conversations really need to be the focus of every campaign, every type of outbound prospecting, is we need to start talking to clients. And the reason being is because that's our biggest challenge, trying to get people to respond, trying to get people to engage. If we can get to that point, the sales process becomes a lot easier. And so one of the ways that we're going to do this today is we're going to talk about petitions. Petitions are something that a lot of sales reps have ignored or not employed sufficiently, but it's a really great opportunity for appointment setting strategies. So let me explain how this works. Petitions are anything that would be interesting to the client, something that would catch their attention. Again, that's why we're talking about this strategy, because it allows us to engage with them and create a conversation. And so petitions are anything that would be that's interesting to them, something that they care about enough to actually respond. And so some examples would be, for instance, maybe there's a number of local businesses that lack public parking. And so you want to talk about creating a petition to help solve that issue. Maybe we change the way the city manages parking timelines, or maybe there's a new parking structure that they can invest in, or maybe they have more police enforcing parking regulations in the area. Anything that you think would actually solve the problem. Maybe there's this recent loss or win or anything that you feel like there's a street that we could rename, or a building or a stadium, but maybe that's something that everyone's passionate about. Again, we're not talking about sales. We're trying to get people to engage and talk with them, and then we'll talk about how we translate that into sales down the road. There's other areas where net neutrality is always a hot topic. There's also a lot of price gouging going on right now. So maybe your clients are receiving or experiencing price gouging because of something that's related to the pandemic, or maybe there's traffic issues, which almost any big city has, but maybe we can talk about widening a road or creating new roads. Maybe there's tax laws that need to be in place or that need to be modified, regulations, new legislature, maybe modifying it. There's a lot of places where, because of traffic, there's nowhere for anyone to provide deliveries to your businesses, and so creating a designated delivery space. Or maybe the city just doesn't have the infrastructure for fiber yet, and so maybe it's too hard. Maybe the city is blocking it because they don't want anyone to dig up the roads. Maybe there's just not enough interest. And so if you were to get enough people on the bandwagon, you could definitely solicit the city or create enough interest that it at least moves forward with whatever change you're trying to take place. Now, again, there's lots of different ways to run with this, but ultimately what we're trying to do is trying to figure out, if I was to put in front of our prospects something that they care a lot about, something that they would like to see changed, it's very likely that they would react and join this. And as a byproduct, it also becomes very viral, because chances are there's a lot of other people that are interested in the same topic. And so the first step in this process is just try to talk to your clients and your prospects. What is their biggest obstacle? What is their biggest pain point? What's getting in the way? Once you identify that, it should be pretty easy to move forward. And so rather than trying to come up with a petition on your own, just start having a few conversations with people. Once you come across something that you feel would be a good fit, which you just got to use your gut and your intuition, but start having some conversations. If you identify something that's a hot topic, try to come up with a list of companies that would also likely be interested in changing this. So if it's a local issue, pull a local list. If it's an industry issue like regulation, pull a list of industries. And so if you need that type of data, just go to ensemble.com/data. You can pull lots of lists right there with contacts and everything that you need and segment it however you need to do that. But that's our next step. From there, we can send out emails. There's lots of different ways that we can do this. But depending on the size of your list, chances are it's smaller than, it's not a massive list if we're being smart about this. But you can send it through your traditional email platform or work with a different company that can send out a company list for you. But this would be an example. For instance, in Hawaii right now, they're experiencing a lot of downturn in terms of tourist traffic. And so one of the things that they're trying to change right now is they're trying to get rid of laws that prohibit vacation rentals through Airbnb and just renting out rooms and things of that nature. There's a lot of red tape related to that. And so companies in that area are trying to make it easier for tourists to come in order to drive more traffic, which ultimately drives more business. And so this is a topic that's near and dear to everyone's heart in Hawaii right now for the businesses. They're trying to revive the economy. So if I was to email companies in that area and say, look, we're trying to make this change, I'm trying to get the word out, it would look something like this. It says, will you help? That would be our subject line. A lot of local businesses here have suggested that the city allow local vacation rentals in order to bring more tourists. Do you agree? Would you be willing to join our cause and sign a petition to persuade the city to make these changes? Here is a link to the petition. And so it's pretty simple and straightforward. The website, you don't want to give out too much information in the email because you want them to go to the website. Once you go to the website, you can share lots more information. They can start looking around, but you want them to act on this. You don't want to make it so that all the information is available in that initial email. So if you can uncover something that's interesting to your clients in terms of a petition, you then try to get people to join. Now, there's lots of different petition websites like change.org. It's preferable that you run the petition through your site so that you can capture email addresses, you can manage the list, and keep people engaged, which is really what we're going to talk about next. The next phase of this, again, we're not going to make any money from people signing a petition. But if we are engaging with them, ultimately we can build relationships which lead to sales. So you want to connect with these individuals on LinkedIn. You want to keep them up to date on changes or anything that you've seen, maybe the number of people that have signed, maybe conversations that you've had with the city, maybe any types of legislature that they're putting on or any meetings that are coming up. Keeping a conversation going with your clients helps expose your name and your company and what you do to these companies on a regular basis. It helps solidify that relationship and that trust. You can also talk about related issues. So maybe there's something else that's related to this that you want to talk about. Maybe you've solved that problem, let's tackle the next one. Or maybe you vote on what the next problem should be. You become a problem-solving group. Maybe you can run some experiments related to that. So maybe there's ways that we can look at how to solve that problem using technology, maybe some case studies about the experiments. Also, another great way to leverage these types of campaigns is using the lead exchange. If you haven't joined the leadexchange.org, it's essentially a referral partner mecca where you can come together, find other referral partners, work together, and make it easier to acquire customers as a group. So basically, that's really the training for today. Hopefully that made sense. But again, to kind of recap everything, our ultimate goal in sales campaigns is to have a conversation. If we aim at anything else, we're going to be wasting our time and wasting their time because we're not talking about something that's interesting to them. We need to figure out what's interesting to our client, create a conversation, and then take that conversation and then run with it and try to convert it into a sale over time. But if we try to jump the gun and try to do that too early, we're just going to be spinning our wheels. And petitions are something where we can tap into something that really drives a lot of passion, a lot of interest among our clients. And that's where we want to focus our time. Is what's top of mind? What's keeping them up at night? Obviously, that's something we talk about a lot. It's a cliche in the sales world. But ultimately, if we're not talking about what's interesting to them, we're not going to get the response rates. And petitions helps them be part of something, helps you create a cadence with them in terms of conversations. It makes it easier for you to build relationships, have conversations. And ultimately, we're problem solvers. That's what salespeople do. And so regardless of what the problem is, we need to figure out what that is. And if we can uncover those problems, typically technology and our solutions will find a way into that equation. But we have to start at the top and then go from there. So that's everything for today. Hopefully